Out of the 80 people on board Delta Airlines Flight 4819, 18 are hurt. That includes a child. The airport's chief executive says those hurt had relatively minor injuries. Passengers and crew members helped each other to escape, and emergency responders were on the scene quickly. As Wendy Gillette reports, weather conditions may have played a role in the dramatic incident.
We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down.
John Nelson posted this video on social media just after the crash that captured the scary and surreal scene.
Everybody, most people appear to be okay.
Flight attendants and passengers helped others on board crawl out of the upside-down aircraft. Medical helicopters and ambulances quickly responded. Firefighters sprayed down the plane right after it crashed. Delta Flight 4819 was operated by Endeavour Air en route to Toronto from Minneapolis. The airline says 76 passengers and 4 crew were on board.
There was no loss of life. And this is in due part to our heroic and trained professionals, our first responders at the airport.
The airport was shut down for several hours, but then resumed operations. Delta canceled all flights to Toronto for the remainder of the night. Weather could have played a factor in the accident. At the time, there were wind gusts of 40 miles per hour and blowing snow from 2 feet that fell in the past week.
Having flown in Toronto many times, it is challenging with the winter conditions. You have to be on top of icing situations, both for the runway, also for the aircraft. They're going to be looking at wind shears, possibly. Anything that could actually have turned the aircraft over like that.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada will lead the investigation, with U.S. teams assisting. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Today's incident in Toronto is just the latest in a series of high-profile crashes, some involving major airlines. They're causing many people to question airline safety and to ask what's behind this series of accidents. CBS 8's Richard Allen is here with a look at that. Richard?
Well, Carlo, that's right. From the D.C. collision last month, killing 67 people, to today's Delta crash, injuring 18, we have seen several high-profile aviation accidents in the last several weeks, prompting many people to question whether it's safe to fly and what the primary factors behind these crashes are.
It's very alarming to see an airplane upside down with basically no wings on it.
North County resident Kurt Marker has been a commercial pilot since 2012. He says this recent spate of high-profile accidents, from the D.C. collision on January 29th to the medevac crash days later in Philadelphia, killing 7, to the February 6th commuter crash in Nome, Alaska, killing 10 people, has all led to a significant increase in passengers' concerns over flight safety.
The world is at a heightened alert for these aviation crashes.
Marker points to FAA data showing an average of 45,000 commercial and private jets in U.S. skies every day, carrying 2.9 million passengers. For reference, the D.C. crash was the first significant fatal crash involving a major airline in the U.S. since 2009.
Your chances are higher of getting in a serious car wreck in San Diego alone. So I still think flying is very safe.
So what major factors are involved in crashes?
The weakest link in the chain will always be the human factor, because we have to make multiple decisions in how we execute what is required to accomplish the mission.
Robert Katz has been a flight instructor and commercial pilot for more than 40 years.
It all comes down to the reliability of the equipment we are flying and the skill and ability of the people who are handling this equipment.
Well, a number of factors, from weather to maintenance to human error to the sheer number of planes in the air, can all play a role. Katz says he believes it's still reasonably safe to fly. Like Marker, he points out this recent cluster of high-profile accidents involving major airlines has led to an increased sense of concern.
I think it's fairly safe so long as the aircraft is properly maintained and flown by a crew who knows what they are doing.
And Robert Katz also points out that with all these incidents, no matter how major or minor, there is something to be learned in hindsight, especially from the decisions that were made and the consequences of those decisions. So hopefully we learn to prevent these incidents going forward.
Richard, anytime you have multiple aviation incidents, crashes, in a short period of time, people are going to be alarmed. But what is the data that the FAA provided to you? What does that say about air safety?
Well, like they said, 45,000 flights every single day with so few casualties, so few fatalities. In fact, MIT did a study just last year showing that the odds of dying in a plane crash are about 1 in 13.7 million. Compare that to a car crash where over the course of our lifetimes, chances are closer to 1 in 95. So air travel is by and large much safer.
Still is hard for people right
It
now
is,
to
especially,
put
yeah.
the two things together.
Exactly.
Getting back to today's crash, how long until we have some real answers of what happened? Because just the visuals on that,
Yeah.
an aircraft upside down, how did that happen?
Unbelievable. An American airline
Right.
too, Delta. But Canada is really in charge of this. Their Transportation Safety Board in Canada, they're in charge of the investigation. Our FAA will be helping them out, but under international protocols, they have 30 days to come up with a preliminary report, but it could be 12 months, maybe longer than 12 months before we get a final report to see what caused today's crash.
People anxious for some answers, even if it's just a few to start. Richard Allen reporting for us. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.